How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now, there was a set of emails that was being talked about in the actual FTC and Microsoft case between Jim Ryan and Phil Spencer. Now, the content to those emails up until today were pretty much not disclosed, but as they were now filed and are in the actual evidence pool, they are available to the public, and none of it was redacted. So I thought I'd go through them. There's some interesting things that are being portrayed here and some interesting topics that are worth talking about, because it does seem some of the stuff that Jim Ryan is asking for, in one way, I mean, there is no way you can say it's reasonable, but let's just get on with the video and discuss it. Thank you so much for your continued support, however. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get on with the video. So, as you can see here, we have here's the key email exchange between Xbox's Phil Spencer and PlayStation's Jim Ryan around the Call of Duty. You can read about the exchange here. That's his article. But essentially, this is the actual email. I may be coming out a bit bright. There's not much I can do for this, I'm afraid, so hopefully this should be okay. This is Jim. This is from Phil Spencer. Thanks for your response. As I stated to you in my emails and our calls, Sony is an important distributor of Activision content, which they are. I mean, just based on their sheer size, they are important. And we would like to find a way to maintain a relationship once we've closed the Activision acquisition. So Phil Spencer here is extremely confident that it's going to close. Little did he know that in 2023 he'd still be fighting for it. I continue to stand behind the written agreement I sent you on January 31, 2022, with my signature memorializing our commitment to Sony. The agreement would keep all existing Activision console titles on Sony, including future versions in the Call of Duty franchise or any other current Activision franchise on Sony. So Overwatch 3, Diablo 5, Call of Duty 7, you name it, through December 31, 2027. So that was their commitment to keep all games on there. This includes content and feature parity, as well as making it clear that we would not feature any timed exclusives releases of such content on Xbox consoles. So basically, up until that point, every single game is going to be identical. As we now know, the deal is 10 years, so it will go from 2023 to 2033, but basically it will keep all games up to that point on parity, and then it will change. Well, at that point, I guess Microsoft are going to start making certain slight nuances, changes, maybe early betas and stuff like that. You know, the stuff Sony is doing right now. Free, you know, exclusive skins or an additional game mode for a year. You know, the stuff that Sony's doing now, basically. It is hard to align the principles set out in your email of May 26, 2022 with Sony's leading role in the market. And we're going to get to that in a second. As I said before, we believe that keeping these titles on Sony, as we did with Minecraft, is the right thing for the industry and for gamers. So Phil, even at this point, has never said that the games will come off. And even after, you know, the proposed 10-year deal, there may be some advantages to playing it on Xbox, like maybe new skins, exclusive operators. But again, they're all skins, right? It's still going to be the same thing. You know, it's exactly what Sony's doing now, and the game will be on the PlayStation. It will never come off. Jim Ryan, they removed these things here so you can't email them directly. You see, they're not stupid. Phil, thank you for your email. We agree that ensuring Activision Blizzard Activision games are available on PlayStation is the right thing to do for gamers and the industry. Let me rephrase that. We agree that ensuring Activision Blizzard Activision games are available on PlayStation is the right thing to do for our profits. However, Microsoft's original proposal did not fulfill this objective and left us with serious concerns that our counter-proposal is designed to address. Far from being unusual, our counter-proposal represents the minimum needed respect gamers' interests and maintain competition. Basically, they're talking about their profits. Because, you know, PlayStation doesn't care about the consumer. All they care about is how much money you're spending. And not just Sony, Microsoft is the same. All they care about is nickel and diming. Their businesses. It's what they grow their businesses on. We believe there are two fundamental principles that are critical to mitigating potential negative impact to gamers from Activision acquisition. The first principle is that the commitment to availability of Call of Duty and other Activision games on PlayStation must be sufficiently broad to fully align with our profits, or they say gamer expectations. To do the right thing for gamers and our profits, it is not enough to represent that a particular selection of older titles will remain on PlayStation. He's not said that. He's not said old titles will remain there. He's saying all the games will be on PlayStation. Rather, it is essential to agree that all Activision titles will be made available on PlayStation, irrespective of their original release dates, or whether they can be classified as part of a particular franchise. As such, they have been just as they have been historically. So basically what he's saying, we want Diablo, we want Call of Duty, we want Overwatch, we want all of these games guaranteed to be on our platform, and if there's any new games that you develop as Microsoft with Activision, we want that as well. And this commitment needs to be a lengthy one, not just a few years after the acquisition. So obviously this one over here was done for 5 years. It's been now extended to 10 years, but in general they want it forever. The second principle is that in addition to addressing the scope of content available on PlayStation, the parties' agreement must address the manner in which the games will be made available. If Activision games are made available only on terms that are disadvantageous for PlayStation in comparison with other platforms, this could be tantamount to not making them available on PlayStation at all. You know what? At that point, I'm fully okay with the games not being on PlayStation, right? Because if it's okay for them to provide a degraded version, and they have no problem in doing this because they have the marketing rights, they have the market power to be able to dictate that, then they shouldn't be crying right now to, don't do what we did to you, but it's okay, we're doing it to you, and we will continue doing it to you, but please don't do it to us. As one example, making Activision games available on PlayStation after those games have been made available on Xbox. That I agree, right? If they're going to come out and they're multi-plat games, and Phil Spencer is going to keep them multi-plat like he says he is, they should be out at the same time, not 1 year after or 6 months after. Would be contrary to the spirit of Microsoft's commitment to keep Activision games on PlayStation, as well as being unsatisfactory for gamers. No, I agree with that point. I think the game should be released at the same time. With these principles in mind, let me briefly address the contours of our counter proposal. The first term of our proposal is designed to advance the first principle stated above, satisfying gamer expectations and our profits by ensuring that all Activision games are available on PlayStation. So what he's saying here is, we want you to spend the $69 billion, we're not going to pay a penny, but we want to guarantee everything that you have on that from that company, new or old, comes to us. Please note that the reference to price parity relates specifically to the wholesale price on which PlayStation is offered Activision titles for resale on the PlayStation Store. Again, what he's saying here is, the price that you put it on for us, that's fine, but you're not allowed to offer a sale to your consumers. If you offer a sale to your consumers, we have to have that sale too. Just because you're not allowed to make an exclusive, hot sale for your consumers, for your players. So clearly here, he's not concerned about the players. He's not concerned about the industry. He's clearly here concerned about his profits, which is why I keep saying all they care about is profits. They don't care about the player base. The second term of our proposal is designed to advance the second principle described above. Unequal treatment of Activision games in subscription services would lead to unequal availability of the games. Basically what he's saying here is, you are not allowed to put Call of Duty or Activision games on Gamepass. Like, who the hell are you, my dude? I mean, honestly, if Microsoft wins and gets Activision, and they are talking to me like this, man, I'd give them fuck all. I'd give them jack shit. As long, obviously they have to because they're legally bound by the court. But honestly, after my term of 10 years is up, boom, I would like say see ya. The audacity that he has to tell him that you're not allowed to put it on Game Pass. That's crazy. As you know, he's talking about it's for the players, it's for the betterment of the consumer. Putting it on Game Pass is for the betterment of the consumer. You know, if PlayStation players want to buy it on their console, they can buy it. It's going to be there available. Why is he trying to punish players that are on Xbox? Essentially, that's what he's doing. As long as you agree to the fundamental principle, Activision games should not receive unequal treatment under party subscription services, we are open to further discussion and the details of how this might accomplish. So he's basically saying if it goes on Game Pass, we are not signing any document. See you later then, Jimmy. At this point, PlayStation fans, Jim Ryan is the one that's preventing the games, if this deal goes through, from coming onto PlayStation, not Microsoft. Of course, you could say, but for Microsoft buying the Activision Blizzard King, this wouldn't be a situation. That is correct. However, are they stopping the games from going on to PlayStation? No. Is Jim Ryan stopping the games going on sale on PlayStation? Yes. Therefore, the but-for clause, which is what they were using in court as well, that chain of causality breaks. Because at that point, it's no longer Microsoft making the problem of releasing that game on PlayStation. It is Jim Ryan himself that is making that problem and creating a problem for PlayStation consumers. The third of our proposal simply recognizes the reality that upon completion of the acquisition of Activision, it would not seem to make logical sense for the financial, marketing, and other arrangements previously negotiated between Sony Interactive Entertainment and Activision to continue to apply in the post-acquisition world. We believe this common sense step is to the benefit of both Microsoft and Sony Interactive Entertainment. So what he's saying here, it would not seem to make logical sense for the financial, marketing, and other arrangements previously negotiated between Sony Interactive and Activision to continue to apply. I'm guessing here Activision were covering some of the cost for the marketing for Call of Duty. He's obviously saying if the acquisition goes through, clearly you're not going to pay for our marketing, so we need to come to an agreement on how this is going to work. At least that's my understanding of it. Regarding Bethesda, I was making a more general point during our discussion that the equal treatment of Bethesda games would not be a logical subject for the parties to discuss because it involves some of the same concerns as the availability and or unequal treatment of Activision games. Again, so what he's saying here is we also want we want the same deal that we're getting with Activision with Bethesda. We want all Bethesda games, including Starfield and Redfall, on PlayStation. We want none of those games to be on Game Pass. Like, what is he smoking? We would welcome discussing this subject as part of an agreement that advances the two fundamental principles discussed above. We would appreciate your confirming that these terms are acceptable as a framework for the parties to negotiate. None of it is acceptable, and an appropriate written agreement. If you can confirm this, I will instruct my team. And obviously, there was no agreement made because what Jim Ryan was asking for is ludicrous. So Jim wants to tell Microsoft what to do with their company. Rich. Counter proposal, my butt. Old Jimmy here was talking as if Sony's acquired Activision Blizzard instead of Microsoft. All this talk about what's best for gamers, they keep misspelling profits. That's exactly what it is. It's all about profits. Basically for Jim it would have been like if Activision was not purchased. Makes no sense. So that's basically what Jim is asking for. He wants Activision games to be, after the 69 billion is paid or transferred into Activision, as Phil Spencer said, nothing is to be changed. No games are going to go on Game Pass. No games are going to go on xCloud. No games are going to go on the streaming platforms. Nothing. Everything remains the same. We still get our benefits. We still remain the public, the number one platform to play Call of Duty on, but you can foot all the bill for developing it. Yeah, that doesn't work, buddy. That doesn't work. From what I've read, seems PlayStation was willing to talk but had some stipulations to prevent a Bethesda situation. I mean, there's still Bethesda games on there, and so, you know, they've actually said that games can remain on there. So I don't understand. The question is what made this turn sour, because from what it sounds like is that Microsoft said something to Sony to set off alarm bells. I'm assuming what was said there was the profit split. Now, there's rumors going around that Microsoft apparently wanted a 100% to 0 split when it comes to digital sales of the game. I think this is wrong. I disagree with this, because if it's on the PlayStation platform, if it's on the store, there should be some, you know, at the end of the day, yes, Microsoft are footing the bill to build the game, but you're still selling it on their store, and you are putting the game on their store. So essentially what that rumor was is that all the profits from Call of Duty will go to Microsoft. I know what people are going to say. That obviously makes sense, but it doesn't make sense at the same time. So in that regard, I think there should be like a maybe 15, instead of it being a 70-30 split, maybe be a 85-15 split or a 90-10 split. You know, a decision can be made. I think if 85-15 split is reasonable. This read to me both men doing what they think is best for their brands. This doesn't read or something controversial. I mean, in the end, that's what it is. They're doing what is best for their company, not for the players, for their company. In the part that says marketing, they refer to what they want to continue with agreements such as those of COD after purchase to terminate those that have already been signed. Yeah, that's basically what they were saying, because there were certain things there that no longer will make sense because Microsoft isn't going to pay for those bills. It's so weird. It's like Jim is saying, you guys can spend $69 billion on ABK, but we want equal access to the content without spending a dime. And that is essentially what he's saying. The way I'm reading this, Jim wanted Microsoft to put all Activision titles on PlayStation in perpetuity and then discuss doing the same for Bethesda. It's crazy, right? He would never do the same. He would never even do the same. And trust me, if Sony could have the buying power to do it, he would not do the same. And before anyone says, oh, they bought Bungie and kept it multi-plat, so did Microsoft with Fallout 76. Those sort of games are different. If you make them exclusive to your platform, you'll pretty much kill the game. So yeah, and this continues. I mean, it's weird how he thought that he could ask for those remedies and actually keep them. It's mental, right? I don't know. You let me know in the comment section below what you think. I think that the email was illuminating. I mean, the fact that he doesn't want the games on Game Pass, how can he say it's for the betterment of the Game Pass, for a betterment of the community, the gamers, and, you know, the gaming sphere as a whole? I mean, I get how it can be detrimental to Microsoft's profits by putting it onto Game Pass. It will be, because they're going to lose a lot of money from box sales, which they continue to do in hopes that that subscription number will exceed and, you know, grow from 29 million to 50 million to 100 million. That is their dream, right? So that's their hope. And then once it gets to that point, it becomes self-sustainable, and they'll be, you know, it's already self-sustainable. They're making over $3 billion. I don't know how much of that is profit, but that's a lot of money. But Jim Ryan not wanting it on Game Pass or any subscription service or cloud service basically means he doesn't want it. You know, it's not for the consumers, it's for his profits. There's also one more matter here that really is concerned, like, you know, that bothers me. Crossplay. Sony has this thing in place where if they don't make enough sales, the publisher, which would be Microsoft in this case, has to pay 15% royalties as a fine to Sony because Xbox took some of their game sales potentially away from them. So in a crossplay situation, and so they have a minimum threshold of a percentage that they need to hit to be satisfied, and if that isn't hit, Sony actually fines publishers. How is that for the betterment of the player base? How is that for... It just means that more companies refuse to do crossplay. How is that for the betterment of the community, the player base? I mean, as we saw with the Borderlands, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Tiny Tina. No, it wasn't Tiny Tina. It was one of them. They openly announced that PlayStation wasn't going to be included because of their crossplay strategy. They weren't willing to pay Sony for it. What? I mean, it's ludicrous. Is this going to also be a factor when it comes over? Clearly, that's going to have to change, or Microsoft's just not going to make their version of the game crossplay, and they're going to make them standalone within their own ecosystem, and let Xbox, PC, and I don't know, the next gen Nintendo Switch 2 play together. Weird. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that discussion, and I will see you in the next one. We do have the court case again for today coming up. I've got a number of other videos as well that I want to get out, but limited by how many videos we can release a day. So hopefully we'll get the Jim Ryan video regarding the comment he made about publishers and developers not liking Game Pass, yet he published a PlayStation title, developed title, and put it on Game Pass day one. How does that not contradict itself? See you in the next one. Remain legend.